Of all characters from the Silent Hill games, James remains one of the most ambiguous ones. Even after finishing the game, his personality is still not very clear. So who was James Sunderland? Before the events of Silent Hill 2, James Sunderland used to work as a clerk for a small company, possibly in Ashfield. His father is Frank Sunderland, who is the superintendent of an apartment building in Ashfield. James and Mary met at a house party held by a mutual friend. Their affection evolved from a blazing passion to a peaceful and stable relationship. One day, after reading a brochure, Mary and James decided to take a vacation in Silent Hill. They stayed in the Lakeview Hotel. Not too long after their vacation, Mary was struck with a terminal disease, and she deteriorated to the point of having violent mood swings, lashing out at James in anger. Her doctor predicted she would have less than 3 years left to live and told James that there was no effective treatment for her condition. James questioned Mary's doctors about her illness and could not believe they would just let Mary die. He searched through medical books for information about Mary's illness but never found anything useful. Later in her illness, James visited Mary less frequently because she was emotionally volatile. Her mood swings left him bewildered about what was right to do. Mary's and James' wish of having children was also put to an end due to her disease. Because of that, James began to drink a fair bit to escape his pain and loneliness, but it never changed anything. James felt sexual frustration, but felt prevented from pursuing it by his marriage to Mary. This frustration is later expressed by the character of Maria, as well as several creatures during James' quest in the town. Mary became a burden on James, and he slowly began to resent her, yet simultaneously, seeing the one he loved in such pain tormented him. The emotional trauma and emptiness left James in a constant state of mourning. Eventually he snapped, walked to Mary's bed and kissed her on her forehead before suffocating her with a pillow. James was originally envisioned with having two different sides to his personality. Maria describes James as kind. Mary, in her letter to Laura, describes him as a little surly and says he does not talk much but is sweet underneath his enigmatic exterior. James is typically courteous to other characters he meets in Silent Hill. He is polite and mild-tempered. He tries to help Angela Roscoe cope with her emotional distress and tries to touch her shoulder to comfort her, but fails. When James first encounters Eddie Dombrowski, he becomes concerned for Eddie's welfare and advises him to leave the town. He also expresses concern for Laura, attempting to follow her through Silent Hill so she won't come to harm. However, James' darker side is revealed in some of his actions. James lost some of his confidence and self-respect when Mary became ill, progressing to deep grief and depression after her eventual passing. He is convinced that she died as a result of her illness, refusing to accept that he played any part in her death. James may be perceived as cowardly, running away from his guilt and blame if he is directly challenged over the truth or something he finds uncomfortable. James will usually avoid eye contact, look down, turn away, or remain silent. James is rather bad at consoling people. He often falls short in regards to helping Eddie and Angela. James is borderline suicidal, yet seems to deny his suicidal feelings. James originally came to Silent Hill to kill himself, and actually does so in the in-water ending. In the novelization, James says, "Actually, I guess I am dead, heart's as good as dead anyway." He wasn't filled with a sense of loss, he just felt like his life wasn't worth living anymore. He had become indifferent. Work and free time, none of it really mattered anymore. James' mental state is rather unstable, often taking unnecessary risks or acting recklessly. He leaves his car door open, doesn't switch his flashlight off when hiding from Pyramid Head, reaching into a hole in a wall for a second time after being pricked by something, plunging his unprotected hand into a filthy toilet to retrieve a wallet, neglecting to wash his hands afterwards, jumping into deep pits, and asking a visibly armed Eddie if he's gone nuts. James also asks, "Did that just move or was it only my imagination?" when checking a corpse. If the player walks up to Angela in the cemetery for a second time, she'll ask,
"Aren't you looking for someone?"
A forgetful James will reply,
"That's right,"
before walking away. His determination to uncover the truth about Mary's fate combined with his apparent suicidal tendencies may explain his reckless and illogical behavior. James is in grief and mourning and would naturally be somewhat traumatized by both Mary's and Maria's deaths. He tells Angela,
"I guess I really don't care if it's dangerous or not. I'm going to town either way."
Later, when Angela questions why James is looking for his wife if she's dead, he responds,
"Don't worry, I'm not crazy. At least, I don't think so."
It is uncertain what happened to James during or after the events of Silent Hill 2, so James' fate is left deliberately ambiguous. A translation of the Book of Lost Memories says, of the 4 conclusions, there is no one correct interpretation. Each ending indicates a different possibility. The writer of Silent Hill 2, Hiroyuki Oaku, has never made an official statement regarding a canon ending. However, there are instances which could be interpreted as hints. In Silent Hill 3, which also has plenty of Silent Hill 2 references, Douglas Cartland mentions he was involved in a missing persons case, in which a man went missing in Silent Hill and was never found, and it is possible that Douglas was referring to James, though he disappeared along with his wife. Silent Hill 4 revealed that James and Mary disappeared in Silent Hill, meaning they have canonically disappeared. Silent Hill Homecoming had a promotional diary on its website written by Alex Shepard, in which he writes, "Since then, no one has seen or heard anything from James Sunderland. Oh yes, and his wife's name was Mary Shepard Sunderland. Was she related to me?" Since Homecoming is set in late 2007, this supports James has been missing up to this date. Masahiro Ito and Gai Sihi both choose In Water as their personal canon ending, though Ito also said, "I think there are so many real endings for each user player." Sihi prefers the Leave ending. Sihi initially thought the Leave ending to be his personal canon as it was the best outcome for James, and felt James deserves a happy ending after his guilt and suffering, but eventually changed to In Water because he felt it was more bittersweet and fit the tragic tone of the story better. Regarding James' canonical disappearance, it can be inferred that James either went into hiding with Laura or Maria, or kills himself in the In Water ending to be with Mary in death. It's unknown if James would go into hiding because he could have easily claimed Mary died from her terminal disease if suspicions regarding her death were aroused, considering how she was sent back home to be with James during her final days. However, Mary's corpse could have started decomposition by the time he left Silent Hill, depending on when Mary died. Laura appears to have forgiven James in the Leave ending, and Mary's letter to Laura also expresses her wish to adopt her. However, it is possible that James feared Laura would accidentally let slip James' murder of Mary. This could be another potential reason for James' disappearance. Thank you so much for watching the video. If you want to see more Silent Hill videos, in my channel there are plenty playlists dedicated to almost every Silent Hill game which keeps getting updated. Also let me know which ending you prefer and what are your thoughts about James Sunderland.